Hey guys, what's going on? This is Tom from the Strength Agenda and part two of our wrap up from the Illinois State Championships. This is session number two. We had a lot of lifters going. This is probably the most stressful session I have had to coach to date. We had two separate platforms going on and three lifters on each platform. So I was running around like a chicken with my head cut off. Starting things off on the 94K platform is Cody Welsh. Cody had to work the night before the meet, so he got in at about 2 a.m., a little bit of sleep deprived, but focused on his lifts and came away with a competition PR total, which I was very happy with. I think he makes his first two lifts at 70 and 75 here. He's working a lot on his bottom position and his overhead position at the same time. He's very tight. Doesn't have the greatest positions, but he's one of those kids that will come in here every day and I tell him to get some drill work in, get some mobility work in, and he does it and does it to the T. This was actually a PR snatch for him that he had there. Just didn't push up into it soon enough and almost dropped it on himself, but he didn't. So thankfully there. But 2 for 3 in the snatch, really can't complain. And then here is Josh Brzezinski. He is a 105 plus. In this platform, we had 105 pluses and 105s going at the same time. Josh's main goal for this meet was to get a qualifying total for the American Open Series. And I just want you guys to take a look here for a second and just watch Josh's positioning. If those of you remember Josh, when he first got on the team, he was very tight. He's a former high school football player. Not very flexible at all, and he's another one who I've told what he needs to do to work on his positioning and everything like that, and he is doing just that. He's also one of those guys that I said I've been saying to other people, like, once he figures out how to move properly in the snatch and the clean and jerk, things are going to take off. And I know that sounds like, well, duh, but it was just one of those things where he was just he has the strength there, he has the speed, he has the power. He just had no idea what his body should be doing at any point in the lift. He missed that last one, but he told me he could make 100. He bet on it that he was going to be able to make this lift, and I trusted him, let him go up to 100, and as you can see, he was really excited about that lift. So he went out there, made it, had a great save on it, and he was 2 for 3 again in the snatch. So I really can't complain about that. And here's a newer guy to the team. This is Eric Guthrie. He is actually assistant strength and conditioning coach for University of Chicago. I met Eric at the Illinois State meet last year. We started talking a little bit. He'd been trying to come out and train with us, and this past spring he finally pulled the trigger and decided to join the team. He is hands down the tallest athlete I have ever worked with. I don't know if we'll get it on video here. Somebody showed me a picture of me standing behind him, and all you could see at one point in the picture was my hands on his shoulders. But Eric, I guess he took a little bit of time off or something with the lifts, but his numbers aren't quite where they used to be. But we're working again a lot on position for him in particular. We're working on him sitting into that bottom position a little bit better. Because he's got such a long way to pull. So the sooner he can get into a good bottom position, the better off he'll be. And, he's got a lot of room for improvement, but I'm really excited to see what we can do in the next year or so with him. And then here's Brian Gurley. Brian's another person that I've met at meets before. He actually came to Big Shoulders CrossFit for our Tarakti seminar, and we kind of hit it off there. I've helped him at a couple meets, and when he finally joined the team last fall, he had a little bit of a hip and a back injury that we were kind of working through. And he's now finally pain-free, moving really well, and it's awesome to see the progress here. So this is a big PR snatch for him. He's hit this before in training, but in competition, I think his most he's hit is 115 or 116. So it was really good to see him hit that. And he just wanted to take a pull at 125. And honestly, it's not that far away for him. He's a very aggressive lifter. He's at least going to try and make that lift. He's going to try and go under it at least. And that's pretty much all you can ask for. And then the last lifter up snatching in this session is Dan Kretzman. It was really hard to watch Dan and Brian because they literally were taking the exact same attempts at the exact same times. So I was just kind of like trying to play off how they set up and how long they took to get set before they lifted, and was running back and forth. But Dan's goal is to qualify for the American Open at this meet. He was out at East Tennessee State University, was training in there. He was on a scholarship there. decided to leave after the fall semester and move back home, and asked if he can train with us. And we've been working a lot on his the second half of his pull off the floor. He's very strong, very capable of lifting 150 in the snatch. But once he gets past the knee, he likes to use more of his back than his legs. So it has taken a lot. He got to the point where snatching 100 was a good day for him, but he is finally starting to move in the right direction. And 125 is a good competition snatch for him. As you can see, he was really excited about it. So I was really happy for Dan to make that. And then here in the clean and jerks, Cody's up first. That was honestly just a lack of focus, and I told him that after that lift. He wasn't focused, didn't set his back, and just hoped that he was going to make it. And then as you see, when he focuses and gets that back set at the start, it's a much easier lift for him. Again, check his bottom position too. He's gotten so much better in that front rack and that catch in the clean. And, he's a pretty good jerker. I would say if I had to pick between the two, he's a better jerker than he is a cleaner, just simply because of there's less mobility issues involved in the jerk. His overhead position still leaves a little bit to be desired, but I mean, look at that clean there. He stands right up with it. I'm not really quite sure what happened on the jerk, because I thought for sure once he stood up with it, he had it. But he kind of gave up on it at the end there because he didn't think he was going to get the lift. And he's very new. He's maybe a year into training with us. So I just kind of explained to him a little about playing it up a little bit for the judges. Until they tell you that it's a good lift or a bad lift, you act like you've made the lift. And don't show any kind of disappointment or give up on the lift, because you never know. The judges may be in a really good mood that day. So here's Josh. Again, his mobility, his positioning has gotten so much better. Right before this meet, I believe he cleaned 300 pounds for the first time. So that was really exciting to see. And he needed to hit 125 in order to qualify for the American Open Series in September, which is our team's next big meet. We went after it. This meet, he made that clean super easy. The jerk, when Josh gets rushed, he decides to try to muscle everything and just presses out his jerks, and that's what happened there. I knew he could make 125, so we decided to give him a shot at qualifying for that total here at this meet. As you can see, the clean itself, he caught it power, but decided to ride it down anyways. He's just a very strong dude that's just starting to get the hang of the lift. So I'm really excited to see how his training leading up to the meet will go. But, he hit the total that he needed to hit, and I was really, really happy to see that. Really happy for him to knock off a goal that we set at the beginning of the year. So now everything is just leading up to training for the American Open Series in Michigan later this year. And then here's Eric in his clean and jerks, and as you're going to see here, he's another one that he catches at power and then just will ride it down a little bit, but he's got a long way to go. And honestly, I have never seen somebody so lanky push under a jerk as well as he does. He does a really good job of waiting on his legs, getting a nice long dip and drive, and then pushing down into that catch position. I mean, it's really good to see somebody like that, or somebody that tall, move that well. So I'm really excited, to see what we can do here in the next few months with him. Those cleans, again, just his elbows dropped a little bit, and because of his mobility issues, as soon as those elbows drop, like, that bar's going to roll off his shoulders every time. This happened when he did the last chance meet at the Strength Agenda, and it was happening again here. Not the performance he wanted, but I was really happy with what I saw, so you really can't complain about it. And then here comes Brian. Apparently I missed it running back and forth between all the platforms, but he missed 130 or 135 in the warm-ups before this. And I saw him make it, so he must have figured out, snuck in another attempt or something and ended up making it. But the most he had made in a competition was 140, and that was like on a second or a third attempt. So I was really happy for him to smoke that on his opener and then hit this lift on his second attempt. Like, that was a really, really good lift for him. And we wanted to give him a shot at 150, and I honestly thought he was going to make it. He usually, if he misses it, it's because he's not even close on that rack position, and he had the pull plenty high. I just don't think he expected it to be where it was, and it just bounced right off his shoulders and rolled down. But 2 for 6, or 2 out of 3, 4 for 6, a really good meet for him. So I have no complaints about his performance at all. Big PR competition lifts and a PR total. And then here's Dan. After his snatches, we knew he needed to hit, he needed 170 to get that total that he needed. And I don't necessarily know what happened here, but he took a long time to adjust on that jerk. And I didn't think he was going to make it. But he at least tried going under it, and he was giving his red lights on it, obviously for the press out and not making the lift. So, took it again. It's not what he wanted to do. We wanted to go 60, 65, 70, but, I wanted him to get a lift and get on the board before we decided to go up. So he comes out, corrected whatever was bothering him on the last lift, and smoked that lift. And we decided to go ahead and just jump 10 kilos for the total, just like with Josh, give him a shot to make that lift. And this is another one. I really thought he had it. I mean, this is probably one of the strongest cleans I've seen him do in person. I've seen him clean, on videos and stuff like that, and it looks great. But this is one of the stronger lifts. I mean, he stood right up with it, and I thought he had the jerk. He just pushed it out in front of him just a little bit early, and, that was it. But overall, I was really, really happy with the team's performance. Cannot wait for the American Open Series with everybody competing in Michigan. Thanks for watching, guys. Take care.